Hey, what's going on, guys? This is 5 Large Fries, and today we're going to take a look at the possible changes coming into Season 1 of Paladins. Now, first and foremost, you gotta understand you need to take this with a bit of a pinch of salt, because this is data mined information from OB40, so a big thanks to smitedatamining.com. I'll leave a link in the description down below. So again, take it with a big pinch of salt, because these may be changes that will come in later on in Season 1, or maybe they may not even come at all. So, with that being said, you'll probably hear me say that a lot in this video. I just need to keep reiterating it because some of these changes are very strong and it's very questionable whether these will actually be in the game. So first and foremost, you have new maps. You've got Grotto, which is apparently desert themed. You've got Flagball, which I think personally this is going to be a new game mode, which I'm really interested in. I hope it is, just for the sake that we've only got 2 game modes right now. I'd love to see a third. I'd love to see the original Siege come back. That was a really fun game mode. Now, obviously, you've got Garden, Intrinsic, and Undercity. I probably butchered the word Intrinsic, but, who cares? We're interested in the champion changes. So, first and foremost, now, getting into these changes, it feels like some, if not all of the champions that have a passive ability on their abilities, with some exceptions of course, are going to have those removed and put into separate cards for their loadouts. So it feels like the loadout system is going to be a big part of the change in Season 1. It feels like some of the abilities that used to do, say for example Makoa had the bonus damage on first shot after hitting an enemy with his dredge anchor. It feels like stuff like that is going to be put into its own separate card, so it's going to change the meta of the loadouts very drastically. So first and foremost, Ying is going to have her bonus damage when hitting all 5 shots on the same target put into a talent card, so obviously dealing 30% or 30 extra bonus damage, when hitting all 5 shots. And of course, swapping to the spot of a dead illusion will spawn an illusion with 100% at max rank. Makoa's getting some survivability and sustainability added to him, so his shield will now block 12,000 damage. So 12,000 health damage shield. That is really insane, and that is going to last for 4 seconds. Obviously, you've got the loadouts that increase the duration of the shield as well, but that is insane. There's also the cards for increasing the health of the shield by a maximum of 2,000. I think that got buffed, which is really crazy. The max health of Makoa is being increased by 1,000. And of course, we were talking about the dredge anchor a second ago. It's now been put in, the passive on it has been put into a card where at max rank you can deal 80% bonus damage on your first shot after hitting an enemy with dredge anchor, which is just ridiculous. That is so powerful. And of course, the shell spin has been buffed. It was originally at max rank 1,000 health heal when you hit someone with shell spin. Now it's 1,600. That is just insane. Now, one of the WTF changes that has come into Season 1, or may possibly come into Season 1, is with Grover. Now, Grover needed a little bit of love. His healing capability was a little bit low on the lower end compared to all the other champions. And I think they've buffed it to a point where it is too OP. And again, we can't make these rash decisions on is it going to be OP or not until we actually get a chance to play with that champion. But this certainly feels very OP. Now, basically what they've done is the only change they've done here is the passive heal. Originally it was 80 health a second. Now it's been buffed all the way up to 400 health a second, which is just ridiculous. That is so much health. And it's blown my mind how much that is. Now, I would have thought 150 at max would be alright. 120 is what I would have preferred it to be. But, that's what they want to do. Hopefully, I mean, I'd love to see him get this change. It would be great, but I don't think the stats that they've given him are right. I don't think it suits. But, again, we can't make this judgment until we get our hands on the change and things like that. And of course, activating the ability to heal nearby allies, instead of it being 1,000 health instantly, it is now 3,000. So that is just insane. Tanks are going to be loving Grover right now, and it feels like Grover will be a must pick in games now. Now, going on to Fernando, talking about another tank, he's gaining 1500 health as part of a talent card, and of course reducing the cooldown of charge by 4 seconds at max rank. Dealing 60% more damage to successive targets hit with Fireball. That's going to be really, really powerful, especially when playing the payload game modes. That is going to be very good at, you know, clearing enemies away and things like that. And of course, you know, just adding 2400 shield health to his initial shield, that is very powerful. I love the changes there. I think that's gonna, although Fernando is very viable anyway, it's still gonna keep him on the board, and I love that, considering Makoa is as well, you know, he's a very viable character to play as a frontliner. Is still going to put him up there, and I think these changes have been made purely because there is actually a new champion in this, you know, spoiler alert, but I'll talk about that towards the end of this video and, you know, go on what I think his abilities are going to be. Now, Evie's getting some changes. Now, she recently had a bit of a nerf to her blink, and that's still going to stay the same according to this. However, she's gaining a new card where she can deal 16% weapon damage. That's new to the Evie. That is going to be a must-have on her. She's going to be more of a nuisance this way. The other thing as well is her Ice Block is now going to heal you for a maximum of 600 health a second. So she's going to have a lot of survivability there. And the cooldown of Soar is going to be reduced to by 6 seconds at max rank. So again, she's going to have a lot of escape. She's going to have a lot of, you know, initiation. She's going to have some survivability there. She's going to be dealing more damage. So overall, Evie's getting a massive buff. Now Cassie is getting a change. So obviously she got a bit of a nerf in OB40, and now we're seeing her get a bit of a buff in Season 1. So she's gaining a new card which gives her 20% extra attack speed, which is going to be insane. So obviously you want to combine that with the extra magazine size cards, and you're just going to be an absolute wrecking, killing machine. She's getting 300 damage on her blast shot at max rank. She's gaining... Now, this is what I'm confused with. With the wording of this, it's very confusing. So, obviously, her dodge roll had this bonus damage, you know, on the next shot after a certain amount of time, right? Now, the wording of this looks like there's a card that will give you, at max rank, 32% extra bonus damage for 8 seconds after using dodge roll. So is this going to be that you use dodge roll and you've got 32 extra bonus, you know, 30% extra bonus damage for 8 seconds? Like, if that's the case, she is going to be very viable, as she already is and still is a viable character to play, and it's just going to put her up there with the high damaging characters, you know, at all times. So I think that's going to be a bit too much, but again, depending on what's going on, depending on the other changes that they plan, we can't judge right now. It may not even come to fruition. It may do, you know, so take it with a big pinch of salt. And of course, 60% bonus damage after hitting a target with disengage. Again, very big changes here for Cassie. Cassie's getting a lot of love. Bombking's getting some really good love. Now, as someone who really enjoys playing Bombking, like, I love playing Bombking, I feel these changes are, for me, I think they're going to make him a little bit more powerful, because before you get into, say, a 1v1 scenario, you know, you hit a couple of sticky bombs and you detonate, and, you know, you may need to try and hit that last sticky bomb to get that final kill. Whereas now, with his changes, it feels like, you know, you can 1v1 people a little bit more easier. So let's take a look at his changes here. So it's at max rank. We're only going to be talking about max ranks here today. You can see on the screen that all the other changes. The area of effect of sticky bomb is being increased by 28%. So you can layer up like hallways, you can layer up the objective with sticky bombs and detonate them and deal more damage over a larger area. I think that is really cool. I love that change. Now, a few changes that are going to be a little bit iffy we'll talk about is the Grumpy Bomb, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the next card here is hitting an enemy with multiple bombs. Each bomb after the first one will deal 32% more damage. So like we were saying in these 1v1 scenarios, you know, to kill a person, like the average sort of squishier character, you need to hit maybe 2 or 3 bombs on them and detonate. Whereas this, it feels like, you know, you can maybe hit 2 bombs and maybe hit a bomb nearby them and kill them that way. This is going to help his 1v1 scenario. I like that a lot. But for people who are really good with bombking anyway, this is going to make them even more of a killing machine. And I love that. Now, he's getting a change to Poppy Bomb. Poppy Bomb's getting buffed to a 40% increased self knockback with one of the cards. I like that. I like the fact that you can essentially play him as this sort of flanking role, even though he's not a flank. And of course, Grumpy Bomb. This is where I'm really confused. Now, are they going to be increasing the cooldown of Grumpy Bomb? Because if they are, then this is the reasoning why this card has been buffed. However, if they're not, this is going to be such a useful card on him. So Grumpy Bomb at max rank with this card is going to have a cooldown by 6 seconds. This is going to reduce the cooldown by 6 seconds, which means you're going to have Grumpy Bombs coming out left, right, and center. If they don't change the cooldown of Grumpy Bomb, he's going to be a much viable pick in games, especially for that stun and that extra damage. Now, finally, in terms of the champions that we have right now, we have Barik and the Barik changes. Now, this is where things get a little bit crazy. So, obviously, you know his turrets deal about 100-150 damage every second, you know, on targets that it's targeting, you know, champions it's targeting. Now it's going to deal 350 damage every second to champions that it's targeting, which is insane. That is a high amount of damage. That's very similar to the support players that, you know, maybe like the Grover, if you're face to face, it was very similar, if not a little bit lower to that. And it's going to make him more of a pain in the ass, because not only that is you can now deploy up to 3 turrets. So you've got 3 turrets, you can maybe put one on their back line, maybe one sort of on the, you know, on the objective, and maybe one somewhere else. And you've got these 3 turrets that are just going to be an absolute pain for the enemy team. Now, with that as well, obviously, when these turrets would hit someone, it would mark them, and the marked champions would take bonus damage from Barik. It now looks like that bonus damage is being put into a card, so it's now going to do 28% bonus damage to targets hit. So I like that a lot. That's really cool. I really like that they're mixing up the loadout system like that and changing the meta a little bit, so people got to really think about what they want in their loadouts. Now, here's where things get a little bit confusing. So I think with the turret card here, I think this is going to be, you know, you can now deploy 3 turrets, and the cooldown of the turret is reduced by 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, you know, 4 seconds being max rank. I think that's what it's meant to say, but it, you know, it might be wrong. So, with that being said, he's also having the cooldown on his barricade. This is being reduced by a maximum of 6 seconds, which is going to make him a more viable, like, tank, because before, you know, it was very situational where when you want to put up a shield, where to block the damage and stuff like that. Now, he can be a little bit more sort of free to put that shield up and not worry about, oh, have I put this up at the wrong time? And of course, the shield, he's going to gain a shield when using rocket boots for 4 seconds after using it, of a max rank of 1600 health on that shield, which is really cool. Now, last but not least, let's talk about the new champion. And the new champion is called Torvald. I'm probably butchering the name there. Now, he is a frontliner, and the reason why I know this to be true is because Drybear, in the developer commentary that they did, announced that the next champion obviously was not going to be a frontliner, which obviously he was talking about Tyra, and that the one following that is going to be a frontliner. And let's take a look at all of his cards here. I'm going to talk about these in a little bit of depth, but I won't go too much in detail. And the reason why is because I'm going to read the descriptions of some of these and give you a rough idea what his or her abilities are going to be. Now, don't forget, in this as well, Drybear also mentioned that this next champion will have the ability to put shields on his or her allies. So, and obviously it actually describes this in one of the abilities, which is really cool. So let's go all the way to the bottom. So Runic Blast. Now, what I think this is going to be, now looking at it, so at max rank on Runic Blast on these cards, you've got either 400 health shield, you've got reducing the cooldown of it by 4 seconds, you know, using Runic Blast will heal you for 300, and using Runic Blast regenerates 16 ammo. So what I take from that is, first of all, he or she is going to have a weapon that's very similar to maybe like an assault rifle or something like that, or has that sort of feel to it, so it's going to be like a high magazine count. So that's really cool. But not only that, I think Runic Blast is going to be maybe something like a pulse, or maybe very similar to Fernando's Fireball. Now the reason why I think it's going to be a pulse, because obviously it's going to grant you a shield and things like that, and it's a 4-second cooldown. I think it'll be a pulse because it will do like a certain amount of damage to anyone around you. That's never been implemented in the game before, and you know, it's talking about being a blast as well. So it could be a pulse from this character, so the character will pulse this out, or it could also be, again, like I said, the fireball from Fernando, where you would have to aim and, you know, essentially blast someone. But I'd really love to see it being a pulse. So let's look at protection now. So obviously this is another ability, and this is where I think it will be about shielding allies. Now the reason why is because it says here, you know, grant 40% movement speed to its target for 2 seconds. So obviously it's going to be someone that you target with this ability. So it's definitely going to be the shielded ability. We don't know how much of a shield it's going to generate on that target, but obviously with this card, you know, giving that target 40% movement speed is going to be crazy. It's going to help them get out of sticky situations and things like that. Obviously, you've got the cooldown on this ability by 2 seconds at max rank. Activating the ability, you know, protection will heal you for 200, and activating protection will grant you a 400 shield. So very similar to how like Pip has the card where if you hit an ally and heal them with your heal, and you don't heal yourself, you can heal yourself for a certain amount of health. It's going to be very similar to that. Now, not only that, is you've got recharge, right? And I think this is going to be a self-shielding ability. Now, the reason why I think that is because, as you can see here, it says recharge generates 20% more shield. Now, I think this is going to be something that will only affect yourself. So this is going to be pretty cool. It's going to regenerate 8 ammo per second, so it's obviously going to last a little bit of time. It's obviously got a similar max rank cooldown by 2 seconds, so very similar to protection. And you can gain 30% or 32% movement speed during recharge. So that's pretty much the ability. So I think this character is going to be, you know, put shields out on people and then put shields out on himself, and obviously do this pulse. So he's definitely going to be the frontliner. He's going to have a lot of health. I really love the idea of this frontliner. I think with all that being said, I think he'll be the most viable frontliner in the game in terms of being able to shield people and keep people safe. I really love that about him. That's pretty much all the changes, except for there's obviously going to be some new weapon skins, there's going to be sprays, there's going to be some character cosmetics, and maybe even individual mounts. So for example, like, you know, you've got Ruckus, who originally had a separate mount in the earlier closed beta, you know, when you had the original Siege and things like that. Are they going to be bringing stuff like that back? I think that would be really cool to have these individual mounts, but we'll have to wait and see until Season 1. That's pretty much all the changes. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sorry it was a very long video, but if you enjoyed it, hit a like button on it. It would help me out so much. Obviously, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Again, I appreciate that so much as well. Until next time, guys, I shall see you in the next video.